The Red Nation, what is good? It's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. The Chicago Bulls are quietly gauging trade interest on Zach Lavine per Yahoo Sports. We'll talk about what that realistically means for the team and what you actually could get back for a trade for Zach Lavine. All that and more in today's episode of the Windy City Breeze Sports Talk Daily. Let's go. Now, if you are new to the channel, please like the video. Please subscribe to the page. We do talk Chicago sports daily on this channel. It's the only channel talking Chicago sports, how Chicago talks. So make sure that you get in tune with us, man. So the Chicago Bulls are gauging quietly trade interest for Zach Lavine per Jake Fisher of Yahoo Sports. And what does that really mean, right? I mean, you have to look at gauging trade interest and shopping Zach Lavine as two separate things. This does not mean that Chicago Bulls are looking to trade Zach Lavine. What it does mean is that the Bulls are realistically trying to figure out what might be the value for a person like Zach Lavine ahead of the draft that is coming up in 7 days. This is what I would want my front office to be doing. This is what I would want my front office to be looking at. But here's the thing that does stand out to me. This is what I want my front office doing if they don't believe that Zach Lavine is the number one guy on your team. And I think that's a lot of times where the question marks come in with Zach Lavine. Do you think he's a number one? Is he going to be the guy that's going to be able to lead you to the prosperity, to the championship at some point? And we've questioned Zach Lavine's leadership to this point. I mean, listen, he's an excellent basketball player. Don't get me wrong. He's one of the best scorers in the NBA. I think he's improved upon his defense tremendously. And I think with a healthy season, and a point guard, we'll see him play a lot more like we did in the second half of the season. But when you have to put so many stipulations in place for a guy to be successful, you do have to question whether that guy's your number one guy, whether he's the one that's going to be able to go out there and consistently get you in a winning position. And we haven't seen a ton of winning basketball from Zach Lavine's time in Chicago until DeMar DeRozan showed up here. So you do have a ton of question marks around Zach Lavine. To me, this does send a message, at least from the front office, that you may not believe that Zach Lavine's your 100% number one guy, which is fine, right? Like, doesn't mean you can't get to a winning point. Doesn't mean you can't get to ECFs. Doesn't mean, right? Like, there's a ton of things that can happen, but it does bring that into place because guess what? You know what the Denver Nuggets aren't going to be doing? They're not going to be gauging interest on Nikola Jokic. You know what the Los Angeles Lakers, well, maybe the Lakers is a little bit different, but because of the age on that, the Lakers is a little bit different. But my point is, right, like when you have a number one on your team that you're convinced is a number one, you're not gauging interest, right? The Phoenix Suns aren't going to be gauging interest on Devin Booker or Kevin Durant coming into this season. You know, the Orlando Magic aren't gauging interest on Paolo Banchero right now. Just to show, like, from the best of the best all the way down to the worst in the NBA, if you feel confident in what your number one is, you're not gauging interest on it. So this does send the message to me that the Chicago Bulls aren't confident that Zach Lavine is going to be the number one. Does that mean that they're going to trade him? I don't believe so. Let's talk. Let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Do you think the Chicago Bulls will be trading Zach Lavine? Do you think that the Bulls should trade Zach Lavine? Let me know in the comments down below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Here's the thing at the end of the day. When I look at Zach Lavine's game, when I look at what Zach Lavine could bring back, I do have some questions on whether he should be traded. I like Zach Lavine. I think he's a really good player. I think he's somebody that the Bulls can win with at some point. I think you have to have other pieces in place for him to win. He's not the guy that's going to do it by himself. And at the end of the day, those questions come down to what can you get back? Because here's the thing. To me, right, you have to talk about possibly getting back draft capital for this draft, because realistically, you're not going to see Billy Donovan in a rebuild rebuild situation. You're going to see this Bulls team try to compete the entire time. They're not going to be sitting here and trying to bottom out. Y'all have to get that out of your minds. That's not going to happen under AK. Case in point, look at the Denver Nuggets. Look how long they tried to be competitive. They just tried to piecemeal it together until they found the right guy. You will never see this Chicago Bulls team blow it up. Get that out of your heads. AK is not going to do it. Billy Donovan's not going to stick around for it. And this is going to be your coaching staff, GM, and president of basketball operations for a long time to come. Maybe the GM changes, but definitely president of basketball operations for a long time to come. And so you have to try and figure out, right, like, okay, what are they going to trade? And is that going to bring back either a top 3 pick, a top 5 pick? Are you talking about getting some young players back, possibly from the Portland Trailblazers, if you go after that number 23 pick? Are you trying to get players and the pick, right? Like, to me, that's where the Bulls' interest has to be. That's probably why they're looking to do this, right? Because with Zach Lavine, when you look at the value that he brings, you can get some young guys back. You can get some players who are, right, like, especially with what Portland's trying to do. While Portland may be trying to trade Damian Lillard away, we know they don't want to trade Damian Lillard away. They would much rather bring pieces in that you're going to be able to build with Damian Lillard in Portland so that he can at least get to a Western Conference Finals, a NBA Finals with the Portland Trailblazers, and it all comes down to that. We've been here before. We've been at the doorstep of a trade. We know that they want to add to the team that he has there already. Could the Bulls be in on that? I could see something like that happening, right? Where the Bulls maybe are able to get Anthony Simons or something out of there, right? Because we know they're trying to go all in around Dame. Zach Lavine, can he be a number 2? Can he be somebody who can shoot opposite Dame? How will they be able to play together? Zach Lavine back on the West Coast. He's also young enough that if Dame is done at a certain point in a couple of years or 3 years, whatever it is, Zach Lavine's still somebody that can be there that you can add other pieces to, right? There's a ton of all of that plays into it. And I think Portland probably is where they're gauging this interest most at right now. So to me, I could see the Bulls trying to pull the trigger on that. But in that situation, you're holding on to DeMar DeRozan. You're holding on to probably Nikola Vucevic because, again, the Bulls aren't going to bottom out. And I think the biggest thing that the Bulls are trying to do here is they're trying to find ways to open up at some point with trading somebody, with moving somebody, right? They're trying to find ways to open up spots for these younger guys to come in. Remember, P. Will is 22 years old. Kobe White's 23. Dalen Terry is 19. These guys are very, very young, and the Bulls are trying to find ways to get these young guys to start having some playing time. I doubt that they drafted these guys to never play them, although Marko Simonovic got that contract and he's been in the G League for 4 years. But I think, right, when you look at the mindset of AK, to me, the mindset is, right, like all the moves that I see him made, it seems like he knew this CBA was coming. He knew that these deals were going to be affecting the team. And so he didn't want to make big deals. All of a sudden, right, DeMar's contract ends at the perfect time for this. Lonzo's contract, that was probably one of the ones where you look at it and you're like, that's an absolute mistake. It is what it is at this point. You got to try and build from that. That's what all of this is. You got to figure out how to bounce back from the mistakes that you made with signing Lonzo to that big deal. And could that cost you Zach Lavine? Could that mean that you're going to move on from Zach Lavine? It might. But at the end of the day, here's my thing. I doubt it. I doubt the Bulls. Gauging and shopping is very different. Understand this. Gauging the trade market versus shopping Zach Lavine is very different. He has not been made available. People are just, this is just AK doing his due diligence. Now, at the end of the day, does that mean that he might not believe that Zach Lavine's the number 1 for this team? Does that mean that he might not believe that Zach Lavine is the best guy to be leading this team to the promised land? That might be the case, right? But why are you shocked by that? Many of you feel that way. Many Bulls fans feel that way. Many people around the NBA feel that way. That's not a shocking statement to make. So to me, right, like you're hoping that Zach Lavine turns into this next level player. And I think that the one thing as well that you have to look at is his contract plays into this perfectly for the Chicago Bulls. I mean, like this is something where he has a contract. I believe you can cap out at 35% of your cap on one player. His contract basically I believe it's 28 or 29%. So a lot of teams are going to look at that as a favorable deal. You know, like he'll be a lot easier to move than a Bradley Beal, which is probably also why the Bulls are looking to do this as well. Because if Brad Beal is being gauged, right, I can give you Zach Lavine and say, okay, Zach Lavine, he's coming off of his injury, but he played the rest of the second half of that season healthy. He was above 25 points a game when he was healthy. Assist numbers were up, defensive numbers were up. I can send you this instead of Bradley Beal. You're getting a younger player by a year, I believe. You're maybe not as good of a scorer, but a little bit better at some of the other things on the court. How would you like this instead of Bradley Beal? All of a sudden, we're sitting there looking at, you know, a situation where the Bulls are getting back kind of that haul that people might have sent for Bradley Beal for Zach Lavine. So I can see why they're doing this. I don't expect this to get done. I don't expect a trade to be made. I don't expect Zach Lavine to be going anywhere. I think that this is just interest at the end of the day, and interest is fine. At the end of the day, you have to figure out how to make the best team. Feelings don't come into a part with that if you don't feel like Zach Lavine is going to make the best team. But let me know how you guys feel in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. Do you believe that the Chicago Bulls should trade Zach Lavine? Do you think that this is just them gauging or is this them shopping Zach Lavine? Let me know in the comments below. I'll be down there talking with you as well. As always, man, it's your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again to continue watching our Chicago Bulls content. Click the links on the screen or check the links in the description below. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. Peace.